we'll do a black moment. There we go. Scotty Boo Boo, how you doing?
What up? Yeah, I want to
turn us on the air, man. We're on the air live.
Hey,
105.5.
105.
Yes. Get ready to get it in.
Ready to get it in.
Ready to get it in, folks.
See you later today, man.
Yes, I love you, man.
Love you too, man.
Yeah.
Have a good
Scotty Hill in the building. Tell Scotty Hill I said, what up?
Yeah, catch him later today. I got to talk to you later today. I'll text you, Scotty. All right.
Hey.
Oh.
Hey. Hey. Woo! Oh, we need that heat this morning. A little chilly, man. I can't wait to get back to Baton Rouge. Good morning, good morning, good morning. What's happening, Real Deal Sports Show family? It's the Fanatic, another week. Bundled up. We all in a polar vortex. Ice cube, frozen lakes everywhere. Man, but we're going to keep it warm with y'all. Bring y'all the heat, the fire, the smoke, all of that. Here with the Rad Man and the Real Deal Sports Show. What's up, Rad Man?
Well, the holiday week is kicking off a day early. It's a holiday week. As we know, Super Bowl week begins tomorrow, but we starting it Saturday morning with some of our national guests as well. Biggest time of the year. We're getting it together. Next Sunday, the sacred holiday of Super Bowl Sunday. Everybody going to be alive and well and popping. And we open up with our first Jack Green's Men's Shop, 737 East Ridge Road. Stop on in and check them out, because I just picked up that wool camel coat. Oh, man, the 3/4 length coat. Got some slacks, got some skirts. Hey, I'm going to be styling and profiling down there. No,
Arizona.
Where we going? Arizona.
We going to Arizona, baby.
Not LA. No, we're going to Arizona.
Well, hey, you might as well go to LA. You right there. Go ahead. Somewhere warm.
We're going to be ready. So please, our listeners, check out Jack Green's Men's Shop.
Gotta do it.
737 East Ridge Road in the East Ridge and Hudson Street Plaza. Your one-stop shopping for great outfits for the prom. The women, hey, we got women outfits there for the prom, for all the women apparel that you need, ladies out there. Going out there and help yourself. But if you want to get your man dressed sharp and looking like a boss, like the Rad Man and his crew gonna be looking this week, hey, take your man over there to 737 East Ridge Road to Jack Green's Men's Shop, located at East Ridge Road and Hudson Avenue. Check them out. Frankie Diaz and the family get you sharp, get you ready. You want to look conservative? Yeah, you got all the looks you need. You got the state. My Stacey Adams is being cleaned, right, being shined up as we speak. So we're gonna have it ready for you and get it going. But first, we dedicate the show to the Buffalo 10 and also to Minister Franklin Florence, one of the greatest leaders. This entire month of Black History Month, we're dedicating the show to Minister Franklin Florence, a true leader. He put his foot in Kodak's behind and forced Kodak to hire black people back in the 60s and early 70s. Because they didn't used to hire us. They were like the New York Yankees of baseball. Didn't want to hire black folks.
Hey, nobody got to come at the Yankees, man. Plenty of organizations. Don't maybe come at the Buffalo Bills. They don't want to hire nobody, but that's another subject. Oh, you about to get me fired up, Brad, man.
That was one of the last teams to bring on black players. That's why a lot of black people like the New York Mets, because the Mets brought on black players way before the New York Yankees. And here in Rochester, New York, Kodak was shame on you, Eastman Kodak. Minister Florence had to take a busload of people down to the national meeting in New Jersey and embarrass Eastman Kodak on national TV at one of their stockholder meetings down there in New Jersey, and that forced them to say, hey, man, on the national platform, Minister Franklin Florence was there, stood tall, spoke proud for all the black folk, black and brown people of Rochester, New York. Thank you so much, Minister Florence, for what you did for our people here in Rochester, New York. It'll never be forgotten, and we're going to have people on speaking about Minister Florence in future weeks during Black History Month. But today, for Black History Month, we're going to be talking about Mr. Arty K. Mr. Arty K, great black umpire, and started the Upstate Umpires Association. And our guest is Mr. Gerald Allison, who's been running that organization for many years since the passing of Mr. Arty K. Gerald, welcome to Real Deal Sports Show. How you doing this morning? Oh, get your volume going there.
I'm doing great, Red man. So
There we go.
feeling good about things.
Beautiful, beautiful. There you go. Glad to hear it.
Okay.
Can you tell us a little bit about?
Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, we can hear you.
Yeah.
We can hear you now, loud and clear. Can you tell us a little bit about Mr. Arty K?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Arty K was in the St. Louis Cardinals organization at one time, and he pitched for the Rochester Red Wings, and he did a few short stint with the Cardinals, but he didn't last very long in the major league. But he did play a lot of games for the Rochester Red Wings back in the days in the 50s and 60s. And after he retired from baseball, he started his umpire group. He spun off from RDUA. He started umpiring with RDUA. You know about that group, Joy.
Yes, indeed. Rochester District Umpires Association.
He spun his group off from RDA. Right. Mm-hmm. And he had one of the largest umpire group in this area at one time. Yeah. I used to go as far as Medina umpiring baseball game for Arty. Yeah. Brighton, Fairport, all these leagues at one time or another, his group did.
Exactly. Excellent.
So one time or another.
At one time or another.
I worked for him about 8 years and a lot about umpiring. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He sure did. He taught us all about umpiring.
He could teach you a lot about umpiring. He knew how to umpire.
He used to get on me. He wanted my uniform clean.
Yeah.
Gerald, he definitely knew the game. He wanted you to look professional because he was on me about my shoes. He wanted my shoes shine, spit shine. He said, Redney, get over here.
Right, yeah, he definitely, yeah.
I'm thinking he's talking about the call I made he said, how was my call? Was I in position? Oh, your technique was excellent. But look at your shoes, man. I said, look at my shoes. I'm looking down. Man, they got to be spit shine, man. And make sure you get those pants dry cleaned while you're at it, man. I want you. All my guys got to be looking tip top.
Yeah, he said he had a rule.
Go ahead.
Yeah, he had a rule. You had to look like an umpire. So that was Arty. Yeah,
yeah, that's what's up.
Like I said, he knew baseball and he knew how to teach umpiring too. Yeah.
So hey, Mr. Jerry Allison,
his group a long time.
Yeah, he got him in right.
Hey,
Mr. Jerry
how
Allison.
are you?
What's going on, Mr. Jerry Allison, the fanatic here? I just wanted to make sure I said thank you to you.
Everything is good. Everything is good. Yeah.
I'm so glad to hear that, man. I
used to umpire for my group, all right?
Yeah. Can't complain, man. Representing for the blue state of Louisiana, where I know you're from. So just wanted to say thank you for putting on me, and you even put on my cousin Scott Hill to come in there and work with you. Didn't see many black umpires, man, around when I was playing and growing up and even traveling all across the state playing ball. So thank you for the work that you've done in the community to bring people up and letting folks taking a chance on somebody like me, man. So I had a lot of good summers, Buckland Park, baby, out there in Brighton, man. Had a lot of good times up there and traveling all over. So just wanted to say thank you, man. I know it's not easy.
And last but not least, Gerald,
you're welcome. You're certainly welcome.
Can you tell us just quickly about you took that bus ride you took when you first came up to the Rochester, Auburn, New York area from Louisiana? What was it like riding on that bus?
Yeah, I took a bus in 1960 from New Orleans to Auburn, New York. Okay,
ooh, that's a long time.
And I had to travel through. Yeah, I had to travel through Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, Kentucky, Ohio, and all the way up to New York. And the black people at that time had to ride on the back of the bus, had a big long seat on the back of the bus. And all black people, when they got on the bus, they went directly to that back seat. Now there were empty seats on the bus, but you could not sit in those empty seats. Those southern states that we traveled through. And I had to travel all the way from New Orleans to Cave town, Kentucky. It's called Cave City, Kentucky now. It's near Lexington, in between Lexington and Louisville. And then we were able to ride on, to sit on any seat on the bus once we got to Cave Town, Kentucky. But before that, blacks had to ride on that big back seat in the back. And even though there were empty seats, you could not sit in those seats. Blacks could not sit in those seats. If the back seat was filled, then you had to stand up. That's the way it was back in the days.
Wow, and that's not that long ago, 1960.
Yeah.
Wow, I was born 2 years, 2 years later.
So, yeah.
2 years later, and wow, the young people out there and people listening to the show this morning, hey, it's not that long ago, so we must never forget where we came from. Because of people like Rosa Parks and Jerry Allison and the people of the world that we had to
Rosa
do what
Parks,
we had to do.
Definitely.
We had to do what we had to do to survive. And when you got to the north, then you could sit. You were a little more comfortable. You could sit and up toward the front of the bus.
Obviously, you could sit wherever you want to, and then you could eat it. You could eat in the cafeteria with white once you become further and further up north. When you got to Cape Town, Kentucky, on into Ohio, then you could you felt a little freer then, But before that, like I said, you had to travel through Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, and those were the deep southern states.
Those were the tough ones, right?
That's the way it was back in the days,
Wow. Well, Jerry Allison, thank you so much for coming on with this Black History Spotlight on RDK, and also your experience as a black man coming from the South, from Louisiana, enjoying that great crawfish and all that other good stuff down there to come up to the north and make things happen up here. We salute you and everybody during Black History Month and throughout the entire year.
Yes.
Thank you so much, and you have yourself a great day, Gerald.
It's good to see you again, Julian, too.
Yes, sir. Good to see you, Mr. Jerry Allison. Thank you for your service to the community,
all right,
man. Again, 60 years ago. That's crazy. Thank you.
Take care.
I'll be down and eat some of those crawfish in April. I'll be coming down to eat some crawfish.
You know it's almost crawfish season. I'm looking at the time. Almost crawfish season.
All right.
We'll see you soon.
Take care. And our next segment of the show. Take care. Our next segment of the show is brought to you by Miriam Rivera Insurance Agency, 1038 Lyle Avenue. Get your auto, home, health, and life insurance courtesy of Miriam Rivera, and at 511 Bean Road, Suite B. Call 585-360-0094. Get your insurance from Miriam Rivera. I tell you, she saved my family and my whole crew a heck of a lot of money. She can save you and your family some money too. So give her a shot before you go with the big boys or somebody else. Hey, she can deal. She's a heavyweight now. She can handle the big boys too. So check out Miriam Rivera Insurance Agency for your auto, home, life insurance, health, and life insurance. 1038 Lyle Avenue, 511 Bean Road, Suite B. Give her a call outside the area code 585-360-0094. Phonetic.
Hey, we definitely did in my household, and got a really personalized, intimate conversation with her and the wife to save us some money. So shout out to you, Miriam Rivera. We appreciate you, no doubt.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. Let's go over to Jay Gills. Jay Gills, the sports director for 105.5 FM, The Beat, WLGZ HD2, The Beat 105.5. Welcome to Real Deal Sports Show. The sports director, Jay Gills. How you doing?
Hey, what's going on, Rochester Fanatic Rap Man? What's going on? The Super Bowl weekend. We can't wait. Man. It's just a lot going on right now.
Have you soaked your fingers yet? Because I know you've been on the lab. You've been booking guests for the show. He's been the booker for next week because we're going to be on Radio Row live from the Phoenix Convention Center in downtown Phoenix, Arizona. Have you been? What kind of guests we booked so far that you've been booking for next week's show?
So for all my bettors out there, we got the CEO of FanDuel coming through. We got FanDuel coming through. All my veterans out there, we have a lot of veterans coming through to talk about how football has inspired them, not to mention the plethora of guests. You can check out the Real Deal Sports Show Facebook page or the George Ratney Facebook page. You see all the kind of celebrities, guests that come through on a whole week of sports and entertainment. So that's just a couple, but y'all not even ready for the rest of the list that we got going on. Y'all just going to have to stay tuned, y'all, on 105.5 The Beat.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And this is your first one. And how's it been going so far for you? I told you we'd pick up this past week. This week, I told you it was going to be like a boom, boom, boom. Here come these all these media requests.
The emails is getting flooded between the publicists and the handlers, and it's a lot going on in these organizations. But we ready for it, and it's going to be a great experience, and we can't wait. Now, I was able to go to 2019, but it was a little different from this experience that I'm doing now. So I'm very grateful, very thankful, and man, I'm ready to dive right in.
Absolutely. I see you got Des Bryant on there. You got a lot of names, man. You got a lot of big name folks on that list. Chris Broussard, Rob Parker, just to name a few of the guests that's going to be coming by us on Radio Row. So check us out on YouTube. Subscribe to us on that YouTube page, Real Deal Sports Show. Subscribe, follow, and like to the shows on Facebook as well, to all our shows on Facebook. George Radney on Facebook, Real Deal Sports Show, Facebook, but most importantly on YouTube, subscribe to the page on YouTube because we're going to have guests all week long. We're going to the Soulful Celebration, which is, I'm wearing the t-shirt from the 2010 Super Bowl Gospel Fest down there in Miami, Florida. And we ended up with these t-shirts. Man, I can still wear this t-shirt. Man, this was a good shirt that they put together back in 2010 down in Miami. And then we met a guy on the side door that had the hot NFL shirts. I can still wear my shirt from that Super Bowl. Man, that guy had a garbage bag full of shirts. I'm glad I was able to purchase several of them from that young man down there in the hallway there as leaving out from that gospel celebration. Those guys were selling those shirts. They were right on time in 2010. So, hey, here we fast forward to 2023. It's going to be an excellent time. Follow the Radman on Twitter at George Radman. It's going to be a great week of activities. Jay Gills, give us a quick wrap up of the games from last week. What was your take on the games?
Man, I thought that, I was celebrating my wife's birthday, so I wasn't able to completely see all the games. Most notably the Cincinnati Bengals and the Kansas City Chiefs game, which I did have the Bengals winning that one. And I saw it came down to the wire. I got home and I saw it came down right to the wire. I saw that Mahomes did what Mahomes can only do, and that's win the game. You give Mahomes 40 seconds, he's going to get you a W. You give him 13 seconds, he's going to get you a W. So we saw Mahomes be Mahomes. Joe Burrow, man, that was kind of like lightning in a bottle that kind of just stopped. It stalled. And I thought that Joe Burrow, with this team, especially knowing that he still has to get paid, T. Higgins is going to have to get paid this offseason as well as Joe Mixon. I thought for sure they was going to utilize this year in this run to try and get it done, but it came crashing down. And then on the other end, I mean, the Eagles have done what they've been doing. They dominated completely. The San Francisco 49ers were down to their fifth-string quarterback. They almost had the fullback or Christian McCaffrey taking snaps at the quarterback. It got so bad for them, but they took advantage of that as they should do. And I think that it's going to be a great game. That is the best team in the NFL, I believe, the Eagles. And when I look at Mahomes, he's the best quarterback in the NFL. And it's going to be a clash of the Titans, and I think it's going to be phenomenal.
Yes, indeed. And a quick comment. Julian Love from the New York Giants, the New York Football Giants, he said the same thing you said to me in the car coming back from the Bills-Miami game during the last week of the regular season about Nick Sirianni as a head coach. Because you're familiar with Nick Sirianni. He was with the Miami Dolphins, correct, at one time?
No. The Bengals coaching staff. A lot of those guys were with the Zach Taylor and Lou Anaramo. They were under that Joe Philbin staff. Right. Nick Sirianni, I don't believe Sirianni was a Dolphins coach.
But he came from Tennessee. Tennessee.
But the comment the guy made was similar to what you made about Zach Taylor and them. I said these guys aren't really that great. It's the players making them great, and that's what basically the player was saying. Julian Love of the New York Giants about Nick Sirianni saying that he's just there not to mess things up. They just got such a high quality team. He's not that great of a head coach.
Yeah, no, I heard that, and that seems a little crazy because he may think he's Hulk Hogan, and somebody need to put their hands on him and make sure when they get a first down and they get to yell at Nick Sirianni, man, somebody should for KC, probably Kelsey, somebody like that. But come on, Jalen Hurts, Jalen Hurts put in the work, no doubt. But you got to have a system that meets the player. You see all these coaches who want to try and fit players into the system. No, build the system around the player. And you got to give Nick Sirianni, a.k.a. Hulk Hogan, give him some love for letting his Eagles team fly. Eagles fly, because they had Doug Peterson and their team really has totally been revamped. And really Howie Roseman. Everybody needs weapons, and it is so insane to me why you would want to not pay for you wouldn't want to give a first round pick for an AJ Brown. Like AJ Brown is better than any receiver coming out the draft this year, especially because there's no LSU big receivers except for my man Keyshawn Boutte. Check him coming out, probably second round pick. He'll light up the league next year. But you got to give Howie Roseman and you got to give Sirianni some credit as well.
I absolutely agree, Fanatic. You know, that I don't think that Giants player should have said that. I mean, how many coaches have we seen fumble the bag? You know what I mean? Whether it's Mike McCarthy, Jason Garrett, those are great teams that just didn't get it done. So when you look at Nick Sirianni, see how he was able to lead his team to the Super Bowl. I mean, that is fantastic. You know, you have to give him credit. Now, I have another take that is probably not gonna go well with Philadelphia Eagles fans.
Wait, Jay Gills, I'm gonna come right back. But I just thought about this. What about the Giants? His own team, Julian Love. They had clowns like Bob McAdoo and all these other sorry coaches. Now you turn around and you get Brian Daboll in 1 year, and that team is basically the same team turned all the way around. Sorry, Jay Gills, had to add that. Julian Love.
You're absolutely right. But I was saying just with this is a hot take that's not so good for the Eagles fans, but how do you guys feel about this? I feel that system that Nick Sirianni has in place is so good and so adaptable that half of the starting quarterbacks in the NFL could have gotten to the Super Bowl on this roster. And I'm not taking anything away from Jalen Hurts. When I look at 3 Pro Bowlers on the offensive line, when I look at the breadth of weapons on the offensive side, from the running backs to the receivers to the tight end, I mean, that team is phenomenal from top to bottom. And we didn't even get started on the defense. So I think that you could plug in half of the starters in the league, and they would have been able to get to the Super Bowl on this team. Now, you got to give Howie Roseman a lot of credit for the roster, but absolutely give Nick Sirianni credit for the system and play, as Fanatics say.
You got to give him credit for the dude. I thought it was out of place for the Giants guy to say that, even though he could think that and he could say whatever he want. But all you got to do is look at the choke job that Sean McDermott did with 13 seconds left in the playoff game a year ago. When your coach, that shows you how a coach can mess things up, how a coach can really mess things up. With 13 seconds left, you got the lead. You just kicking the ball off, and you get ready to kick the ball off, and you somehow go into overtime and lose the game. That's how a head coach can mess up a championship run. Just ask Sean McDermott how a head coach can mess up a championship run. That's what he did. Didn't squib kick the ball. Didn't do any type of situational football. No squib kick. And then no press, man-to-man coverage, no bump and run at the line of scrimmage. And then turn around this year, you didn't do no bump and run at the line against Cincinnati Bengals a few weeks ago. Come on, man.
Well, hey,
come on, man.
Rabin, we know, and you are right with your thoughts, but we do need to have that conversation. I strongly believe, and it continues to be a shame, but we know how the NFL gets down. We shouldn't be surprised. Leslie Frazier should have been one of the hot coordinators to get at one of these head coaching jobs. Unfortunately, it looks like it's going to be another year where he doesn't get a job, which is a shame. But let's talk about it. Let's be real. When we come to Real Deal Sports Show, we're not holding back. So it may be Black History Month, and it is Black History Month every month for us. But we got to talk about Leslie Frazier in that defense. I know last year, Rabin, you were at the game. You and Jay Gills were at it this year as well. The defense, we got to say, the offense was sorry this year, but the defense, I can't say what Ice-T would say, but it's a song. How'd they go out? He went out like all right, we can't say that. So, but the defense went out. Yeah, but the defense, let's talk about Leslie Frazier and McDermott. Where is that relationship? What is up, and what happens to the Bills' defense when you need them most?
They don't show up. The cover 2 is not as formidable as it used to be. You have a lot of now they're really running a lot of college football schemes now, and those college football schemes that they're running is a lot more conducive to beating the cover 2. I mean, Joe Burrows, he just got the ball out of his hands quickly. He didn't get a quick read. He know where he wants to go with the ball. When you have a quarterback like that, you're very dangerous. You look at the Bills season, the Bills didn't play a lot of quarterbacks that could get the ball out of their hands quickly or also really knew their offense and was comfortable within the offense that they were running. For the last 2 years, the Bills have met a lot of teams that had a lot of sorry quarterbacks. That's how it is. You play who you play. That's how it is with the schedule. And then when you get into the playoffs and you meet the creme de la creme, the Bills, that's where the rubber meets the road, and the Bills have not been able to answer. Even though I thought even though they gave up over 400 and some yards against Kansas City last year, you still had to lead with 13 seconds because your offense was manageable. You didn't have Ken Dorsey at the wheel, just let the quarterback do whatever he wanted to do instead of making him accountable to checking down the ball, checking down to the receiver, or taking what the defense gives you. Joe Burrows and Patrick Mahomes are playing chess, and I must say Josh Allen is still playing checkers, y'all. Him and a lot, he's back. He's with the rest of them playing checkers, trying to get up from checkers to a real chess game and be a real efficient and knowledgeable of how to run the offense efficiently.
Yeah,
that's where we are with that. And we have coming up next. Stay on. You can stay on the line, Jay Gills. This next segment is brought to you by Rock Pawn Brokers, 559 State Street. Hey, it's almost Valentine's Day. Get over to 559 State Street. If you're in town or outside, area code 585-262-9920. Rock Pawn Brokers. They got all the jewelry. They got all the bling. They got all your needs for the upcoming Valentine's season. So it's a Valentine's season is quickly coming upon us.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, right after 2 days after the Super Bowl, after the biggest day of the year, Super Bowl Sunday. Hey, get it right. Get ready.
Get it right now, fellas. Hey, Rabbit not saying it, I'll say it. We all married on here. Get something now. Thanks for the reminder, Rab, man. Happy wife, happy life. Hey, significant other, whoever it may be in your life, get your gifts in early this weekend and this week before we get to Super Bowl Sunday and Valentine's Day come up on us.
Yes, indeed. And now we're coming up now is our next guest, Mr. Jarrett Bell from USA Today, NFL sports writer, is joining the show. We're going to have him join the show now.
Yeah, and don't forget about that Bill Nunn Memorial Award winner in 2022. Got to shout out the legendary Mr. Jarrett Bell. Good morning, sir.
Hey, that's a goat sound, sir. That's a goat sound.
What's up, fellas? Appreciate y'all having me, man, and love the love here.
Appreciate you.
Yes, indeed. And what was your take from last week's championship games?
Man, Kansas City, it was going to be tough to beat them, and Cincinnati gave it a good whirl, but that Patrick Mahomes just added to his whole legend, and what a classic game. I think it's a great rivalry, just like the Bills and the Chiefs and the Bills and the Bengals. I think you'll see these teams duking it out again in the future. On the NFC side, Philly looked, so dominant. And I think, the Chiefs are going to have their hands full. Andy Reid's going to have to come up with an incredible game plan to beat Philadelphia because Philadelphia is so balanced, right? I mean, they could throw, they could pass, they could on defense, they could, pass rush you, they can cover, they play the run, they got deep defensive lineman rotation, a lot of things with Philly that makes them so tough to beat. So I picked the Chiefs, and I've been second guessing myself for the last week. Like, okay, did I get that right? So we'll see. I think it should be a great game, though.
I think so, too. I'm still leaning toward the Chiefs myself. I just think Patrick Mahomes is just that special quarterback that seems to have a will to find a way to win. He's winning with a lot of non-household name guys, that Pacheco, McKinnon, you name it. These guys are coming through for the team. They're just finding a way to win. And their defense is coming up with enough. Chris Jones, it seems like he really turns it on in the playoffs. What do you think of Chris Jones's play, Jarrett?
Well, I mean, he just got his first career playoff sack last week.
Which is crazy.
Yeah. For a guy who's been so dominant as a pass rusher over the years inside. Some people were saying, oh, he's the best pass rusher, the best D tackle in the league. No, Aaron Donald is. But Chris Jones is really, really good. And, it's going to be a great matchup because the Eagles' offensive line is really good as well with three Pro Bowlers. But to your question about Chris Jones, he is a guy who plays with the edge. I mean, he's got a great partner in Frank Clark too. So let's not forget about him. And you saw what Buffalo was not able to do against Cincinnati's, banged up offensive line. and he saw Kansas City exploit it, right?
Yeah.
And so memo to the Bills and Ed Oliver. I mean, goodness, they had their shot, right? But yeah, Chris Jones is that guy. But you know, the thing you mentioned something about Kansas City, and yeah, it is pretty incredible because when they traded Tyreek Hill, I think everybody thought, okay, what are they going to do now? How are they going to replace him? And they started throwing different people in there, and they, you know, picked up Juju Smith-Schuster, and Marquez Valdez-Scantling, you know, a couple others. They lead the league in hyphenated names, right?
Yeah, they do.
Right.
Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Yeah.
But they've been able to do it with a lot of different people. I mean, Kelsey being, you know, the central figure as far as the targets, but you know, you mentioned Pacheco, and there's just so many other guys that have contributed, and partly because they've had injuries. You know, I mean, McCall Hardman was a guy who, you know, he played about half the season, speedster, right? And, you know, he was going to be the guy who was going to be running those jet sweeps that Tyreek Hill used to run. And, you know, he did until he got hurt, right? So that's kind of how they've done it. They've just, you know, used this guy here, put that guy in there, do this guy here, and oh, by the way, throw it to Kelsey when we're really in trouble.
Yeah,
right.
That's
that would be magical.
Hey, Mr. Miller, that's where I wanted to go. Travis Kelsey, what makes him so unguardable? Number one, and then can you put him in just the context of history? And especially, I would like to say, in my lifetime, Rob Gronkowski, Big Gronk, he was the most unguardable tight end, but I still think so. I know it seems to be debate-wise, numbers-wise, but just if you want to go all the way back to the history of tight ends, but just what makes Kelsey so unguardable, and then where's his place in history?
Yeah, I mean, he's big and he's fast, he's mobile, he's agile, he can catch, right? And he can do it in traffic. And then he's got Andy Reid and Eric Bieniemy scheming up stuff. Because some of the things that you look at with the Chiefs, you go, how did that guy get so wide open? And it happens. It's like they had this route and running in combination with that route, and next thing you know, Kelsey's like wide open. Especially when they get down to the red zone, it is pretty amazing when you think about it. When you talk about, you know, tight end history, yeah, it has evolved so much over the years, over the time. You know, I've been covering the league like 40 years. You know, I still go back to, you know, Kellen Winslow and Ozzie Newsome. They were the first ones like that. And before them, it was like Mike Ditka, and he was totally not that kind of guy, but he was a guy who caught like, you know, 80, 90 passes as a tight end or something like that, maybe 80. But, you know, that's how the game evolved, right? So now you get Kelsey, who's bigger than all those guys and just as fast and mobile as all those guys, and it just gets better. Now, compare him with Gronkowski. I think for my money, if Rob Gronkowski is in his prime, I'd go with Gronkowski. But that's, you know, that's like splitting hairs, man. It really is. Because both of them can do, they can hurt you, and they can be, you know, terrible to match up with. It's like, who do you use to cover this guy, right? Do you use your lockdown cornerback because you know he's going to stick to him, but he's going to give up, you know, 50 pounds? Or do you try to go with a safety or, you know, a linebacker? I think that's the headache that, you know, guys like Kelsey will present. And then if you've got other people in the passing game that can do things like Jarrett McKinnon coming out of the backfield, nightmare headaches. Nightmare headache matchups.
Big question here in Western New York that's been going on in the last 2 weeks is about Leslie Frazier. Do you people around here feeling that his defensive schemes, and him and Sean McDermott, really, they kind of tied at the hip, that they're old and outdated and need a fresher look to match up with what's going on with these athletic tight ends and wide receivers that we see in flooding the league? Because it's almost more of a college style offense that they're playing now in the NFL, and you got a lot of receivers, and is that cover two just an outdated scheme?
Yeah, it's been tough. It really has been. I think, you know, I don't know if it's all about the scheme because that scheme has won, but like you said, the offenses have evolved. I think it all still comes down to if you can rush the passer, you know. So that scheme would look a whole lot better if you got Warren Sapp coming up the middle, right?
Right.
Yeah, that's a whole lot better than if you got, this guy you got the Eagles D line,
Fletcher
with
Cox.
Hassan Reddick and all those cats, man. That scheme would look a whole lot better. But the bottom line is results, right? So that's why they're getting the heat. I don't think they should try to, just reinvent the wheel. I don't think they really have to, but you've got to have talent and personnel, and they've been really good. They fired the safeties coach. I'm like, I'm not
come on, insane
there as much, but it's kind of like, you lost Micah Hyde. I mean, I'm not going to be as good of a coach if I don't have Micah Hyde, right?
Yeah. And you're down to your fifth safety because we lost Demir Hamlin in his unfortunate injury. We lost Jordan Poyer was playing out there with a dislocated elbow and a calf injury, so he was playing on one leg. I mean, what more can the safety coach do when he's down to his fifth man?
He's got to go out there and play himself. he's got to come. He's got to come off the bench and say, "Okay, I'm in, guys. Let me show y'all how to do this." Yeah, you're right, George. It's pretty incredible when you think about all those losses and just how they piled up, and then for him to be, the fall guy. So I didn't like that. Just in reading it, the ticker, transactions and stuff. Like, wait a minute, what? But bottom line, for any scheme to work, you're going to have talent and personnel and depth, and you got to have it on, really throughout, but definitely the front end. And then you look at the back end and how can you cover people? But I don't know. I think about Buffalo, man, and I still get back to Josh Allen. And, George, when I was there, I was talking to you about it. And then the guy pulls out the Pro Bowl to play in the Pro-Am. That is a bad look, man. And I know the Pro Bowl is, and they don't play the game, right?
No, it's not the Pro Bowl of yesteryear.
Yeah, so you're not playing the game. You're making all these millions from the NFL. I know, you almost, and then you pull out because of an injury, and then you're gonna go play golf, which is a little physical. I mean, you still got to use your elbow to swing that club, and I just think it's a bad look for him. I really do, but.
Yeah, 2 years in a row. Thank you for saying that. People here in Western New York don't think so, but I'm glad we're getting a national perspective on Josh Allen. And it is a bad look for him in the organization.
Yeah, and I'm not as big on Josh Allen as probably people up there, no doubt. I mean, I acknowledge and recognize that he's a great talent and, has a lot of potential and has done a lot of good things, but for my money, I just don't see this guy yet. And that's not to say he can't do it and won't do it next year or the year after. But when it gets to be crunch time, I don't think you can count on him. And, when you talk about getting close to the goal line, he's had these turnover problems for a couple years. And I remember, when he went from year one to year two and all the work in the offseason with his mechanics, he got better, right? So, that can still happen when it comes to, him being a more efficient quarterback, especially in the red zone and stuff. But it hadn't happened yet, not to the point where they've been able to, to get over the hump. And it's just something about him that I'm just not, not feeling, especially when you compare it to Mahomes and Joe Burrow, which that's what you got to do because those are the guys you're going to have to beat.
Absolutely. I agree with you 1,000%. You hear that, Western New York? This is not the Red Man perspective. This is from National, Jarrett Bell. So, I get on him a lot up here because I don't see it in between the ears. It's just missing there. Get too panicky and don't understand where to go with the ball. And Clark, you got to dump it off. You got to take what the defense gives you. You can't throw it 40 yards when you only need 6 yards. You got to dump it off, move the chains, and keep it moving, and and then also in his defense, you got to improve the running game, and hopefully they'll improve the running game this season.
And Ken Dorsey, exactly. Must be better.
Yeah, exactly. He must be better because that's another guy with Ken Dorsey. But another question I have for you, we had Kansas City's ESPN Darren Smith on the show last week, and we were talking about Otis Taylor. Why did Otis Taylor in 1972 had over 1,000 yards receiving when the game was a running game back then? It may sound like paltry yards to people listening, 1,000 yards receiving, and most of his touchdowns was over 60 yards or more. I mean, and the man, he created the high step that Deion Sanders and some of the guys and Billy White Shoes Johnson. This all was created by Otis Taylor. Why isn't Otis Taylor in the Hall of Fame?
Yeah, I'm not on the seniors committee. People ask me that all the time, and it's kind of weird because when people first started asking, I was like, "Wait a minute, isn't he already in the Hall of Fame?"
Right.
You know,
That's
so
I
I think that's one of those guys. You think about, those Chiefs teams, in the '60s and the late '60s and early '70s, and he was definitely, that guy. So, I don't have a good answer for you, man. We break this Hall of Fame committee down to the full panel, and then we've got a seniors committee, and then we've got a contributors committee. I've never been on the seniors committee, which is the committee which is the pool that players go to after like 20-25 years of eligibility. Excuse me. They go into the seniors pool, and the one thing I get from the people on the committee is that, boy, there's just so many people to choose from that fall into that pool, because if you don't get in 20 years, then you go into that pool and there's more people. That's one practical answer, but it's not a good answer, because you see some of the people that get in as seniors and you go, "Oh, who was this guy and how did this guy get in?" And
Right.
Jimbo Covert or people like that. And you go, "Wait a minute, hey, what's up with that?" So, it's always a human process when you got people on a committee. And like I say, I'm not on that committee. I am on the contributors committee. So I've, had a hand in trying to select, the people who get in as contributors. Right. And, we only do one a year. I like to see a few more of those people get through, but it's a time process. The one thing I can say is that, man, this Hall of Fame is just a real competitive thing. You talk about the sport being competitive, and it's frustrating for guys who are, in the running to be in the Hall of Fame, because they can't do anything except for, see what the selectors do. They can keep their names out there and stuff like that, but it's got to be frustrating to them, and it's just so difficult. We got fewer than 300 players in the Hall of Fame for 103 years of NFL history. So it just tells you how competitive it is.
Yes, indeed. But especially when you see players like Charlie Taylor from the Washington football team from that era, and Fred Biletnikoff that had a great season. Both of these guys are great ball players. I mean, Otis Taylor should be. Both of those guys are in. Otis Taylor isn't. There's something wrong with that scenario, because Otis Taylor was just as good as those two guys in their prime during that time period of the 60s and early 70s football. So hopefully.
Agreed. All right.
Mr. Bell, I had a quick question, right, man? I'm not sure if you mind if I ask this. It might be a little loaded. Of a question, but we all know with Super Bowl, there's always a storyline not related, and it's not going to be long. But when I looked at the Josh Still story, the backup offensive guard for the Eagles, how he was indicted on rape and kidnapping charges, I couldn't help but think of the Super Bowl a couple years ago. When Andy Reid and the Kansas City Chiefs were in the Super Bowl against the Tampa Bay Bucks, when Andy Reid's son, Brett Reid, in that car crash, and how that was a big deal, how he caused traumatic brain injuries to the young lady, the 5-year-old girl, traumatic, very traumatic story. It wasn't much outrage with that. I saw a very small sample size of people talking about that, in comparison, especially to the Henry Ruggs situation with the fatal DUI crash. Being that you are the GOAT of Black media, how do we as media create more of a balanced storyline moving forward, to where Brett Reid gets just as much notoriety as Henry Ruggs for almost the same crime? Guys like Brett Favre, and putting him in the news. How do we do that?
Yeah. I think it's a great point. How we do it is is an incredible question. It really is, because you could only control what you can control. And I think it's incumbent on people like me at mainstream media to say, hey, we need to be writing about this and to pursue these stories with the same vigor. I think the bottom line, the underlying issue to the question is the double standard. I mean, no question. And so when a Black athlete is in trouble or even in question of being in trouble, it definitely comes with a whole lot of intensity. And then when other situations occur with white people, most often it doesn't get the same type of heat. And so I agree. I agree with that premise. What can we do? Like I said, I can control what I can control, and I can write about this and that. But it's mainstream media, and it's the the editorial decisions that are made, and it's also just kind of how things flow in our legal system. So we can do a whole show on this, bro. But yeah, I mean, to sit here right now and say this is what you could do and this is how you do it, yeah, it's definitely going to take a whole lot.
Absolutely.
A whole lot, because we're living in a society now where some states don't even want to teach Black history. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
wow.
Let's be realistic about where we are in terms of full respect. So that's
we appreciate you. Yes, sir. We got to talk about it. We can't wait to get you on next time to expound. But being that it's Black History Month,
yes.
we gotta show out for Black media. Absolutely.
Yes.
One last question: Do you think Brian Flores will get the head coaching job, one of these head coaching jobs, or a defensive coordinator position?
Yeah. You broaden that question real quick.
Grab man is smooth with it.
Yeah. So I think at minimum a D coordinator job. I was glad to see that Denver is checking him out with Sean Payton. And great last year that Flores got a life vest from Mike Tomlin, come on and join us and get back into the league. So I think it's tough to predict exactly what's going to happen with these head coaching jobs, especially since I haven't been intimately, working on each of these case by case things. It's just been listening to what's going on and stuff. So maybe Arizona wants to go with a defensive guy. I mean, they had Steve Wilkes a couple years ago, and they fired him and brought in Cliff Kingsbury. So, you don't always know what some of these people are thinking. Indianapolis is still open. No, I'm not really sensing that that's what's going to happen. So I think Arizona's the best shot for him. And, Brian Flores was very successful with the Dolphins. I mean, he was successful, very successful. I guess that's like winning playoff games and going to the Super Bowl. But he was successful, and he had it going in the right way. So, there's still a question about, where, how he would fit in a certain situation or what his impact is going to be. And you compare him with other candidates and so on and so forth. So it's not a slam dunk that he gets a head coaching job right now. But if he gets to be D coordinator, then, that's this. So I'm definitely not minimizing his potential and his credibility and none of that. But just when you talk about, okay, is that the next spot right now or a D coordinator thing? A D coordinator thing would be, would be a big step from where he's at right now.
All right. Well, we'll see, because the general manager came from New England with them, so they were together in New England for many years. So hopefully he'll get an opportunity in one of these open positions. And Jarrett Bell, thank you so much for coming on Real Deal Sports Show.
Okay.
We're going to see you next week. And Darren mentioned that you crowned him the best dressed on Radio Row. Well, I'm coming after Darren this week. My Stacey Adams being clean, shine right now. Got the suits out the cleaners. I'm coming out there to take that title.
Yeah, Darren, man, that dude's out of control, man. It's okay. All right, man. Hey, I look forward to seeing you, G.
All right, see you this coming week. Take care.
Okay, peace.
Peace. Yes, that's right. Legendary sports writer here in Western New York. You can read them in the USA Today newspaper or in the Democrat and Chronicle newspaper. Usually every Sunday, Wednesday, and Fridays, his articles appears in the Democrat and Chronicle newspaper locally. And each year, the last 3 or 4 years, he's been selected to be the lead reporter for either the AFC or the NFC team. So he usually goes to the practices of the team and gives a report back. So the rest of us, because we all can't go out there, it's not like a normal regular. They only can send a few reporters out to the practices. He comes back with the write-ups to us so that we can get the information back to you throughout the country. So that's how deep Jarrett Bell is in the National Football League. You mentioned 40 years. This guy's paid his dues, and he's doing what he do.
Yeah. Hey, I know we mentioned his name. We always want to make sure that we want to give love to Damar Hamlin. Hey, just because the season is over doesn't mean that we forgot about you. So Damar Hamlin, want to shout you out as well, man. But always great to see Jarrett Bell. Grew up reading his articles. I wish we could have him for the whole show, but he's a busy man. And I would just say, especially in Black History Month, it is amazing to see for the first time ever, 2 black quarterbacks going at it in the Super Bowl. I think we're all going to win on that just to see the different styles. So, and plus Jalen Hurts, he's a Q. He got the first. He has a woman as an agent. She's a Delta. And so man, the Super Bowl Sunday, man. I'm excited and giddy already, man.
Super Bowl week. That's right. We get to see Michael Wilbon will be out there. He lives half the year in Phoenix. We'll get to see him. Bill Rhoden, Jarrett Bell, the legendary black reporters when we get together for the National Association of Black Journalists, hosted by Bill Rhoden each year. We get together, break bread together, and you get to go around the room, meet the young journalists. That's why I met Chris Gardner at that event in Houston many years ago, and Chris Gardner will be coming back on shortly, but for basketball with us. So, Jay Gills, get ready, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Please,
Don't be crazy. Let's go.
Hey, perfect time to get out, man. We're in the polar vortex, man.
Oh my God, it's so cold over here.
Yes, just de-ice the plane. That's all we got to do. De-ice it, and we keep it ready, and then we'll be ready. We'll be coming. Check us out on like us on Facebook. YouTube, subscribe to it on YouTube. See the show on YouTube. Follow the Red Man on Twitter. Like your comment and subscribe to YouTube at Real Deal Sports Show. Hit the bell icon to receive notifications. So if you're not an early bird, you can catch this show later in your day whenever you get ready to check us out. Hit that bell icon to receive notifications on YouTube. So like the comment and subscribe to us on YouTube.
Daily updates coming soon. Hey, we hear the music. We know it's backspin time. Hey, but I got to shout her out. One of the best basketball players of this generation, male or female. Shout out little WNBA news. Breonna Stewart coming to the New York Liberty. Coming from Seattle. That's going to be big for New York City. And I got to talk about my GOAT, Candace Parker. On and off the court, the GOAT. She's taking her talents to join Asia Wilson, Kelsey Plum, Jackie Young, and the champion Aces. They are loaded and keep on getting better. So WNBA season, I got my draft tomorrow night, ready for that.
And everybody, the greatest of all time, you get to see him. You don't see this too often. LeBron James, only 63 points away from Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I saw Kareem Abdul-Jabbar play. I did not think anybody would get close to his record in my lifetime. And here I'm still around. I'm going to be able, hopefully, God willing, be able to see him, LeBron James, break Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's record, which I thought was really going to be unbreakable. LeBron James, y'all need to get off this man back. This is the greatest player of all time. He could play multiple positions where Kareem could only play center. He could play guard, forward, power forward. LeBron just does whatever is needed for his team to win. Give this man a break. He is better than Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan's a great scorer, but this man,
God.
He is. Jordan is a great player as well, but hey,
that's a whole nother conversation.
He might get a whole nother show.
Going right now, right, man? You done stirred up so much.
Stir it up now. Come on.
Oh my goodness. We definitely gonna talk about that next show. We gotta chime in. I'm hella jealous of you guys because y'all going to the Super Bowl, and I'm gonna be watching it on TV. Y'all gonna be watching it in person, but hey, man. That's what to the victor goes the spoils. Isn't that's the perks of the game, right?
Absolutely. We cover the NFL 24/7. This is the end of the season. This is our chance to get out there, relax, enjoy, and meet our comrades and sports reporters throughout the country. So look for it. Backspin, I know you're going to tee it up and do your thing. And
yes, sir.
Get us going from start to finish. I can't wait for the Luther song and the whole 9 yards.
I gotta get it popping. It's the Back in Time Mix Show on the way. Appreciate you, Radman, Fanatic, and Jay Gills, man. I appreciate all you guys, man. It's the Real Deal Sports Show every Saturday morning, 8 a.m. right here on the Beat 105.5. Y'all keep it locked right where you got it. On deck, the Back in Time Mix Show right here on the Beat.